What nobody tells you after you start a pig farm in Nigeria. When people talk about pig farming, they usually talk about how to start, how much it costs, what profit to be made, how to build, and how to buy. But nobody really talks about what happens after you start, at least not properly. Because the first 30 days in pig farming will humble you. Not in a dramatic way, but in a very quiet way. You wake up thinking you have a plan. Then small things start shifting. Feed finishes faster than you expected. And one pig behaves differently. Another one doesn't eat the same way. And workers do things slightly different than you explained or instructed them to do. Nothing looks like a big problem, but nothing is exactly right either. And that feeling that something is slightly off, that's the real beginning of farming. Because this is where you realize something more important. You are not in control yet, but you think you are, but you are not. You are still reacting, still adjusting, still trying to understand what is actually happening. And the dangerous part is, everything still looks okay from the outside. If you take a picture, it looks like a working farm. And if you send updates, it sounds like progress. But internally, you are still figuring things out. And if you are managing from abroad, this stage is even more dangerous because you don't feel the small changes immediately. You only hear about them, or sometimes you don't hear about them at all. That's how gaps start forming. Small gaps in feeding, small gaps in observation, smaller gaps in timing, other gaps in decision making. And farming is very sensitive to small gaps because animals don't wait for you to figure things out. They respond immediately to feeding, to their water, to their drinking water, weather, and also environment. So, while you are still learning the system is already responding to your mistakes. And exactly that's the part nobody explains. And it's not because people want to hide it, no. Rather, it's because it's hard to describe. You have to experience it first. You have to see how small decisions can heavily or negatively affect your outcome in farming. You have to notice patterns. You have to realize that farming is not about doing things always. You have to understand, you have to realize that farming is not about doing things. It is about doing the right things and doing them consistently. Even when nobody is watching, that's when things start to change. Not when you know more, but when you start seeing differently. When you walk into your farm and you don't see pigs, rather you see signals, you notice something is off, something is improving, something needs attention. That shift alone, right there, from doing to seeing and to noticing, that's when you start gaining control. But until then, you are just participating, not managing. And many farms stay in that stage even longer than they should, because they think activities means progress. But no, it doesn't. Movement is not control, and noise is certainly not a structure. Mind you, results don't come from effort alone. They come from awareness. So if you are starting a pig farm, or you are thinking about it, this right here is one of the very first parts you must understand. The beginning is not about getting everything right. It is about learning how to observe and observe properly. Because once you see clearly, you start making better decisions. And better decisions, that's where your results comes from. If you want to learn how we are learning, as well as adjusting and also building that awareness in real life, subscribe and tell me, what do you think is harder, starting a farm or actually understanding what's going on after you might have started? Thanks for watching, and see you again in our next video.